Hello there. It's the Rant Man coming to you again from the poor side of town. Today, we're going to speak of a topic that I've spoken about before, but I said I was going to do a continuing part 2 of it, and I never did. So now I'm going to do a continuing part 2, and I'm going to highlight right-wing extremists. And I don't know if you've been keeping up with the news, but with the new NRA president, and no, it's not Wayne LaPierre. LaPierre is the face of the NRA. This guy is the heart and soul of the NRA, metaphorically speaking, you could say. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the comments he made. And I'm going to play a couple of clips that are a little old, granted. Yes, they're a little old. But they kind of help highlight why I'm, speaking on this topic in particular. Well, I want to first go ahead and bring up this article from USA Today. It's another publications, but it's the first one that came out. From USA Today, the board of the National Rifle Association will elect as its president Monday a hardline cultural warrior who has worked for decades to make the NRA a more aggressive political force. The election of James Porter ensured after the endorsement of outgoing President David Keene last week is one of the more defiant signals to come out of the NRA's annual meeting in Houston over the weekend. The organization vowed to continue to fight any compromise on gun control legislation in Congress. Revenge is what motivating the president's unrelenting attacks on gun owners today, Porter told the group meeting Saturday amidst news that the NRA's membership had grown to a record 5 million. Millions of Americans are becoming first-time gun owners, Porter said. The media calls it fear. That's not it. It's a sense of natural outrage that's been building for quite some time. Porter, 64, a lawyer from Birmingham, Alabama, who defends gun manufacturers, has been building that outrage his whole life. His father, Irving C. Porter, was president of the NRA in 1959, when the son says that the NRA was a glorified shooting society. At a breakfast Friday, Porter told grassroots organizers that they are in the front line of a cultural war. We will never surrender our guns, never, LaPierre said. I'm sorry, I just skipped a little bit. Just for the sake of, before I get accused of being biased. All right, he seems, this is what continues afterwards. He seems to come out of the mold that's much closer to the base than David Keene, said Judge Horowitz of the Coalition to Stop Gun Violence, whereas Keene was a steady hand for the NRA amidst controversy. Porter is a complete wild card, Horowitz said. The world's changing around them and they're hunkering down. The weekend also features speeches from politicians such as Senator Ted Cruz, which I'm going to talk about towards the end because it's a funny story about going around Ted Cruz, who challenged Vice President Biden to debate on gun violence, and the NRA's crowd-pleasing executive vice president Wayne LaPierre. We will never surrender our guns, never, LaPierre said. The media and the political elites can lie about us and demonize us all they want, but that won't stop us. Observers said the tone of the convention wasn't surprising, given the debate over universal background checks in Congress, which the NRA has fought bitterly. The rhetoric has been ramped up, said Josh Sugarman of the Balance Policy Center. They've doubled down on their absolutism. More than 70,000 people visited the weekend event, primarily for the gun trade exhibits on the floor of the Houston Convention Center. About 70 protesters held vigil across the street, reading the names of 3,863 victims of gun violence since the shooting in Newtown, Connecticut, on December 14th. The last names on the list were Carlos Serrano, 48, shot in a robbery while going to work Friday, 6 miles from the convention. There's another reason why I wanted to speak about this, because this guy, the new president, Jim Porter, he also said in some kind of gathering that the fight, the Civil War fight, was a fight of northern aggression, and there's been a lot that the rhetoric has gone up about the NRA and their stance and all this talk. But I want to point something out, that's especially like glaring, that well, let me just play this real quick, okay, and then I'll come back. I'm gonna play this from. I'm gonna tell you where it is from. It's from a town hall meeting in 2009. I know it's 3 years, but it's relevant, to explaining the mindset of a lot of these extremists. Mind you, these are not all the Republicans. Don't get me wrong. These are not all the Republicans. This is the, percentage of extremists out there in the Republican Party, okay? This is from a town hall meeting, and that Representative Wally Herbert, or Herbert, I'm not exactly sure the name, but he had this town hall meeting when the whole debate was going on about healthcare. And this is what someone who stood up from the audience said.
And I want to say that I'm a proud right-wing terrorist.
I mean, if a liberal would have said back when George Bush was president, I'm a proud left-wing terrorist. You know how fast S would have hit the fan, and how quick the FBI would have paid a visit to this person? I mean, are you kidding me? Hang on, because this is short. This merits playing again.
And I want to say that I'm a proud right-wing terrorist.
I mean, again, this is not the whole Republican Party. These are the extremists, and in fact, when that when that NRA convention came to Houston to to have the convention with when they came. Excuse me. Sorry, folks, I'm diabetic, so take my pills. Like I was saying, when the NRA convention came to Houston, you know who they had among the guest speakers? I mean, if you're talking about extremists and you're a political junkie like I am, you must have some idea who was in that convention. But I'll tell you anyway. So the ones that at least that I know: Ted Cruz, Rick Santorum. Oh, it gets better. Ted Nugent, Sarah Palin, and Glenn Lonesome Rhodes Beck among the speakers. If that doesn't say it all, I don't know what does. There is one person, though, that they don't have on in these conventions, you know, even though this person perfectly speaks to, you know, ideology and to a lot of their rhetoric, is this man.
Yes, we need a nationalist party in the United States of America. You have the rudiments of a new party in this country called the Tea Party. They need to restructure their party. They need a charismatic leader, which they don't have. There is no Republican Party. It's an appendage of the Democrat machine. You've got the drunk Boehner on one side and the quasi-pseudo-crypto-Marxist on the other, who's really just enjoying a ride in Hawaii right now.
Okay. If you didn't recognize the man whose voice clip I played, I don't blame you. But that was Michael Wiener Savage. I'm not sure if you heard what he said. But, you know, I'm not going to play it again because, you know, just... by the way, that was actually part of a clip from the Young Turks. But it's quite clear. I mean, you know, I'll repeat it. You know, if you... I mean, you can look it up yourself and listen to it. Just type Michael Savage on a YouTube search engine. Just type Michael Savage Nationalist Party. And you see a video come up that says, who's crazier, Alex Jones, Glenn Beck, or Michael Savage? What Michael Savage just said was that they need a nationalist party, that the Tea Party needs to restructure and get a charismatic leader. Now, mind you, St. Huger said all that needed to be said. I'm just adding or maybe parodying some of the stuff he said. But it just needs to be said. Think about if you, I mean, you know, if you're older and you know history, or if you were smart enough to look up history and learn it. Can you think of any other group in history who had a nationalist party with a charismatic leader? Gee, oh my. You know, which group had, or which nation rather, had a nationalist party with a charismatic leader? Oh, that's right. 1930s Germany. The Nazi Party. So in other words, Michael Wiener wants the Tea Party to restructure into a nationalist party with a charismatic leader. What's the salute going to be between party members, Michael? Is it going to be Sig Heil? Huh? Wow. You know, I mind you again, you know, this was from January of this year Okay, so it's a little bit old. Not as old as the right-wing terrorist clip, which was '09. No, this is more recent. I mean, which makes it more worse, because, at least, and mind you, I'm not justifying, the comment by that idiot at a town hall meeting. But, it was during a period where people were having violent reaction to the healthcare, to the extremely watered down healthcare bill. Obamacare, as they call it. So yeah, there was a lot of violence floating around. But this was from a clip from 13, from this year, from January 9th. And this moron is he serious? I don't know. With some people you can, you can just push your comments aside as, they gotta be joking. They can't be that freaking dumb to just say that and think that, that's a legitimate thing to say. I mean, you sometimes you think, it just can't be. They can't be serious in saying this. But with Michael Savage, you know that he believes everything he says. And he said, he wants to. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to play it again because it needs to be heard again.
Yes, we need a nationalist party in the United States of America. You have the rudiments of a new party in this country called the Tea Party. They need to restructure their party. They need a charismatic leader, which they don't have. There is no Republican Party. It's an appendage of the Democrat machine. You've got the drunk Boehner on one side and the quasi-pseudo-crypto-Marxist on the other, who's really just enjoying a ride in Hawaii right now.
This guy, I don't know who's worse in ginning up paranoia, Alex Jones or this guy. I'm surprised they're not buddies, from all the stuff. It's ridiculous to think that, when I remember back 13 years ago, or, almost 14 years ago, or at least 14 years ago, yeah. I remember back 14 years ago, I was sitting at home. We were about to celebrate the birth of a new millennium. Now, when you're young, especially when you grew up in the 80s, that's the signification of the new millennium. People were so excited because, a lot of wild speculation to how the future was going to be. We're going to have a peacetopia. There's going to be a high tech. Everybody's going to help each other. And we're going to be happy. And if you told people back in the 80s that in '08 they were going to elect a black senator for president, and that the old hatreds of the KKK and the neo-Nazi groups and all this stuff, that it was going to resurge. If you told people that in the 80s, they would have laughed right in your face. They would have just laughed right in your face because, not that it's not possible that a black man could run in the 80s. Wasn't Jesse Jackson? Didn't Jesse Jackson at one point try to run for president? It's not that. It's that he would win. And that there will be such resurgence of, right-wing extremism in this country. Especially with the freaking moderate Republicans at the time. Kind of like about the same point that Obama is leaning towards. The mid-centrist, almost to the right side. They would have laughed in your face because nobody would have believed it. First, nobody would have believed that a black man would win presidency. Second, well, some would, but second, that there will be such resurgence. There will be people on the radio calling for the Nazi Party again with a charismatic leader. Or that somebody would call themselves a terrorist. Especially in light of the, in the 80s with the Ayatollah. And terrorism. As it was in the 80s. Nobody would have believed you. But, it's that's the way it is. It's right now it's where in my opinion, anyways, maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. But I think we're teetering towards, some whack job doing something stupid and throwing the country into a big old huge civil war. In your deepest of guts, that's like ever present in the atmosphere that that might happen, because it only takes one dumbass, excuse my language, but it only takes one dumbass to throw the whole thing into chaos. Okay, so I said I was going to talk about Ted Cruz, and I'm going to talk about him right now because it's extremely funny. Like I said, Ted Cruz he was one of the speakers in this NRA convention, and there are rumors that he wants to run for president. Now, for all of you who don't know, Ted Cruz is the son of a Cuban father and an Anglo mother, I believe. Let's see. At least. Let's see if I'm not mistaken. So I don't want to make that mistake. I believe so. I think he was born to an Anglo mother in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Yeah, Ted Cruz's mother was born in Delaware to an Irish and Italian working class family, and his dad was from Cuba. So, okay, the reason I bring this up is because think about, and again, anyone who hears me knows, who's heard these broadcasts know that I'm not, a lover of Obama nor do I think that he's 10 times more better than Bush, but that's not saying much. Because Bush was the worst president ever. Second, first even, I think, in my opinion, to Ronald Reagan, but that's another story. Anyways, all the crap that Obama got in the last 5 years, if no one in the left side of the aisle, if this guy actually really runs, I mean, I doubt it that they can't be that stupid, but, again, that's the Republican Party. Yes, they can be this stupid, but if somebody actually runs this guy for president or tries to some way run this guy for president, if nobody brings up the fact that he wasn't born in this country, I am, I'm just done with this nation because, for all the crap that Obama got, show me your birth certificate. Show me your birth certificate. Show me from everyone from members of the Republican Party to Donald Trump to what's her face Orly Tate, and if nobody asks him to show his birth certificate over and over again, if he even dares to run, I'm just gonna be flabbergasted and amazed because, this guy, for all the crap that Obama's had to go through, and this guy, if he gets a free pass, I mean, well, I know my left wing radio, he's not gonna get a free pass, at least from them. Everyone from Ed Schultz to Randy Rhoads to Mike Malloy. To Tom Hartman might not, but Randy Rhoads, Stephanie Miller, Mike Malloy, Ed Schultz, Norman Goldman. I'm pretty sure they're going to ask him for his birth certificate over and over again, just out of pure spite. Which, being this case, I don't mind because these guys were a-holes. And are still a-holes. So, that's it. I don't know if I'm going to make another one of these on gun control. There might be something else coming up. But, as far as gun control is, you're either on one side or you're on the other. Or you're in between. But it's dude, I'm just waiting for the first idiot to step up. So that's all I'm waiting for, and I know it doesn't sound too promising, and I know it doesn't sound too great, but it's going to happen. Bet your ass it's going to happen because these people can't help themselves, and some idiot's just going to step up and do something stupid, and next thing you know, we got chaos on the streets, So this is the rant, man. That's all I have for today, and I don't know when I'm going to make my next broadcast, but it's going to be soon.